The greatest matchups haven't happened until now. The Ultimate Warrior. Unbelievable.
Andre the Giant. Randy Savage. Eddie Guerrero. The Rock.
Rock Bottom.
Shawn Michaels. Bret the Hitman Hart. Hulk Hogan. Hogan drops the big leg. Rowdy Roddy Piper. Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Sergeant Slaughter. Good God Almighty. Jake the Snake Roberts. Mr. Perfect. Steve Austin.
Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold.
Triple H. John Cena. Randy Orton. The Undertaker. Rey Mysterio. The Big Show. Drew McIntyre. CM Punk.
In your face.
Jack Swagger. John Morrison. Kofi Kingston. I can't keep up with the action. Kane. Edge. The Miz. Sheamus.
I can't believe what I just saw.
Ted DiBiase. The Big Boss Man. Dusty Rhodes. Road Warrior Animal. Jerry the King Lawler. Michael Hayes. Chris Jericho. Ted DiBiase Jr. Cody Rhodes. It's our truth. Mark Henry.
It's the greatest roster of all time.
WWE All Stars.
2 generations, 1 ring.
Some really great characters. Stone Cold Steve Austin as well. Of course, Andre the Giant, Randy Orton, Bret the Hitman Hart. All the big names from today and yesteryear on this All Stars. 43 in total as far as the roster goes. Then you can create your own legends. Of course, you can have 15 saved at a time on each memory slot. Of course, you have the bonus content. If you bought the game at the time, you got bonus content. Of course, it won't be like that anymore, but you got the $1 Million Pack, which of course was the $1 Million Man and his son, Ted DiBiase Jr. Other bonus characters were, of course, Cody Rhodes and his dad, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. You had R-Truth, Mark Henry, the Big Boss Man, the Honky Tonk Man. A lot of great characters were bonus content. Jerry the King Lawler, Chris Jericho, the Legion of Doom, the LOD. So many great characters, bonus content in this game. Michael P.S. Hayes was another one. I really enjoyed the game. WWE All Stars, it was one that I was greatly anticipating, and I am happy to say it's mine. It's in my library, in my collection. I play it from time to time. Some great stuff in it. You can recreate some great matches in it, and you can play them also popular Fantasy Warfare matches, which is of course a mode in the game. Fantasy Warfare, of course, features matches that you can see Mr. WrestleMania. You decide who is Mr. WrestleMania. Is it Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker? Of course, they had 2 famous WrestleMania matches at WrestleMania 25 and at WrestleMania 26. But the Fantasy Warfare is between them in this game, along with 14 other Fantasy Warfare matches. Of course, you see a video package about the 2 wrestlers, and they do a great. They edit the footage so that they're talking to each other in the package. It's really good. Really good video packages for each one of them. They are, of course, Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior, versus the Ultimate Warrior, as who is the greatest warrior of all time. the greatest high flyer of all time, the confrontation between Eddie Guerrero and, of course, Rey Mysterio. We've got Kane against Superfly Jimmy Snuka for the, what is it, ruthless aggression. Who's the most ruthless aggression? You have between who's the greatest All-American? Is it Sergeant Slaughter or Jack Swagger? Who's the greatest of all time, the greatest star of all time, Hulk Hogan or John Cena? Who's the excellence of who's the excellence of execution? Is it Edge or Bret the Hitman Hart? Who is the greatest style of all time? Is it the Macho Man Randy Savage or John Morrison? All these different, perfectly awesome. The Miz versus Mr. Perfect, along with so many more. The Coldest Snake, Randy Orton or Jake the Snake Roberts. The list goes on. 15 of these matches, and then of course that's the 30 stars that started off the game, and then with DLC coming in, you can make your own Fantasy Warfare with them extra 13 wrestlers. Great mode, that Fantasy Warfare. I enjoyed that mode, and then by doing them matches you can unlock characters and stuff. Path of Champions is the other game mode, and you can go through. You have to go through 10 matches in each one, and then you end up fighting The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It shows a bit of the old WWE segment, of course, the old WWF segment, The Funeral Parlor, which had many moments in history on it. You can see The Funeral Parlor as part of this Path of Champions when The Undertaker and Paul Bearer interview you in the Funeral Parlor, and it takes back to a lot of great storylines. And then you eventually fight The Undertaker at SummerSlam, and then of course the other part of Road to WrestleMania, you end up fighting Randy Orton for the world title you end up fighting Randy Orton for the WWE title at WWE WrestleMania, and then in the other Path of Champions you fight in the tag team ranks, and you end up fighting DX for the tag team titles at WrestleMania as well. So WWE All Stars, great game. I enjoyed it, and I'll tell you now, nearly a year later, I turned it on last night and I played a series of matches, and I enjoyed it more than I ever enjoyed it. So it goes to show, it grows on you. If you play it from time to time, don't play it too regular, maybe turn it on every 2-3 weeks, maybe even every month in some cases, but WWE All Stars grows on the audience, and that's what I've noticed, and I'll tell you, I really enjoyed playing it last night. And that's all I've got to say about WWE All Stars. Kieran Kyo here, the Kyoster. Keep tuning in to CKTV with the Kyoster here on YouTube. And all you Facebook viewers, hope you're enjoying it from the Kyoster. Doing a lot of stuff these days for YouTube and Facebook and all the websites that I am involved in. I'll probably post this up in the Legends forum, so a hello to all you Legends Wrestling forum guys out there. I hope you're enjoying my videos, and you can give me some likes if you want on the various sites. But okay, the Kyoster, WWE All Stars, for me, presentation wise, I would give it, I felt that it was a good presentation. I think the emphasis is too much on the modern day. I think they could have put more retro stuff in there for the old school, as far as arenas and stuff goes. But presentation for me gets 7 out of 10. Gameplay wise, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. The gameplay is amazing in it. Overall, like, considering the amount of characters isn't enough in my opinion for a game, but because it's an arcade throwback, maybe it's okay. But overall, I give the game 8.5 out of 10. Great game, really loved it. So from me, the Kyoster, I give WWE All Stars 8.5 out of 10. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed CKTV today, the Kyoster WWE All Stars review. Kyoster over and out.
If a simulation of sports entertainment like the annual SmackDown vs. Raw franchise isn't your cup of tea, WWE All Stars could be your ticket back to the squared circle. The 30 playable characters are action figure versions of themselves, the moves soar and twist through the air, and winning most matches is as simple as being the last man standing. It's an arcade take on wrestling that's fun, but it gets hung up on some complex controls and similar modes. If there's one thing WWE All Stars nails, it's visuals. THQ isn't trying to mirror the real WWE, so characters are exaggerated, the colors are neon like the early 90s, and the crazy moves are impactful and fun to watch. It looks like a slick cartoon, and that's fine by me. The standout mode here is Fantasy Warfare. 15 matches that pit a WWE legend against a WWE superstar to decide who the best big man is or some other made-up title. Each one of these pairings is introduced by a narrated video combining highlights and promos for each competitor. It's an awesome trip down memory lane that makes the match you then play feel epic. Outside of that, WWE All Stars tends to blend together, although the core is still a good game. There's this mode called Path of Champions. Here you choose a wrestler and battle through 10 matches on your way to facing The Undertaker, Randy Orton, or DX. There are a couple of cutscenes here or there, but they're just canned speeches from the wrestler. Then, it's 10 matches that are the same experiences you could have in exhibition or online. On top of that, online tends to be a bit laggy. It's not terrible, but it is a nanosecond or two behind, and timely reversing is everything in this game. The basics for WWE All Stars are simple and easy to jump into. You have buttons for light and heavy strikes and buttons for weak and strong grapples. Yes, on the surface it's the return of the N64's No Mercy control scheme. Using these basics, you'll hurl your opponents through the air, bash them with chairs, and deliver elbow drops the likes of which the world has never seen. It's a blast to wail on a buddy. Underneath that, however, is a really complicated system that I think works against the arcade vibe. There are different reversals and blocks for grapples and strikes. Even though prompts appear telling you which block to use, if you haven't hit the button before it appears, you're screwed. You have to tap buttons to taunt to earn your finisher, and then you have to tap those buttons again to unleash the finisher, but you can get hit while doing either of these motions and get screwed out of the move. However, there's this ability to hold the finisher buttons. Complicated, right? Add in the fact that there are character classes that each come with their own unique abilities, and it's a crime this game doesn't come with a tutorial to walk you through the finer points. How many people are going to play at a buddy's house and understand that Bret Hart is a grappler, so he can chain together moves by hitting this button at this exact time? They're going to punch, they're going to grab, and they're going to be done with it.
A formidable fighter and future legend, the Scorpion!
WWE All Stars is a fun game. I love the return of legends, the art style is awesome, and the over-the-top moves are cool.